Welcome to Let's Talk Antigonish, the podcast where we sit down with neighbors, experts, and friends to explore the stories, the questions, and the big little issues that shape life in our town, one conversation at a time. This week, we sat down with Bryan Druhan, owner of Candid Brewing Company, to ask him why is beer so expensive in the pubs around here. He knows a lot about beer and pricing and drinking culture in general, and he gives us the lowdown on what it's like to own a pub here in Antigonish. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Antigonish. This is Justin. I am not with Anuj today because he had to take an emergency trip down to Halifax, but exciting news, I am on location at Candid Brewery with the owner, Bryan Druhan. Bryan, say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
How are things? So we're going to get this started with you cracking open one of your beers. We can do that because we're not in the library. We're in a pub.
Fantastic.
Ooh, there.
Anticlimactic.
Beautiful sound effect is what that was. So we have brought you to this table in your own pub today to ask you a specific question. It's one of the questions we got from when we were out on Stroll the Main, and we were asking for questions that we could ask. And one of the people said, why is beer so expensive in the pubs in downtown Antigonish? And so I thought, well, that's probably a 2-second answer, so I'll just quickly ask you that. But you apparently have a lot to say about that question. So I'll leave it to you. For us folks who occasionally go out and have a beer, why is it so expensive to just buy a single beer in a pub like Candid?
To be fair, I have a lot to say about everything. So, it's not limited to this question, but the price of beer there are a lot of considerations that go into it. I think I would start by pointing out that if you leave downtown Antigonish and you go to Halifax or any other metropolitan area, beer is much more expensive than it is here.
That has to be true. Yeah.
Well, I had a customer in here not long ago, and he was from Virginia, and he said, I can't believe how cheap your beer is. And I said, oh, tell me more. And I said, is that just the dollar? Because, your dollar's like, 1.5 times ours. And he said, no, that helps. But he said, in my area, any craft beer is $12.
Wow.
$12 a pint. And, I've always kind of looked at pricing and thought, man, if you get up in that $10 range, you're kind of pricing it out of people's ability to go out and enjoy a pint. I was like, so this must be DC, because I imagine the DC sort of sprawl being, really expensive. He said, no, it's like 15 a pint there.
Oh, God.
So kind of wild. So you hear a wide variety of pricing, but to start, the prices are totally in line and actually lower. In Halifax, I know you see shrinkflation, so you'll see a lot of 16 and 20 ounce glasses of beer. In the city, you'll see 12s. I've seen some 10s. I've paid, $10 for a 10 ounce glass of beer.
Yeah, that does seem shady. That shrinkflation thing.
Yeah, so the glasses keep getting smaller.
And the prices go up.
Well, and if you see draft specials, often from, your Bud Lights and things like that,
yeah,
they'll get this great low price point on it. $4 draft, but they are exceedingly small glasses, because I drink them very quickly.
Yeah. So it's everywhere. It's not just downtown Antigonish. That has to be part of the answer.
That's part of the answer,
But then I guess the other question is, if you go out to a location, let's say like this pub, as opposed to just going into the NSLC and grabbing one, why is the price difference there? I mean, I'm just going to assume it's because you're in a retail establishment. You have to pay for, if you go to a restaurant, you pay more for a meal than if you just pick one up at Sobeys, and right? Because you have to pay for the waiter and the location that they're renting. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, we have in this location downtown rent that we pay. We have employees, overhead. You have all of those things go into it. So yeah, that's definitely part of it. So what you pay in retail is cheaper. You're taking that away and you're having it at home. The kind of service aspect of having it on location, in a nice atmosphere is definitely part of the price.
You're paying for the pub experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to just drink a cheap, Bud Light at home, that's going to cost less because it's not as exciting.
Exactly.
Right.
The other thing is, I kind of, alluded to this a little bit, is we've tried to hold our pricing for this reason, is we know people are experiencing a lot of inflation in other ways, and craft breweries aren't immune to this. Shipping has driven up the cost of everything.
Yeah.
So for us, since we've opened, the price of barley, barley might not be 40%, but certainly when grain prices went up a lot, especially with the war, Ukraine has a lot of grain. Prices worldwide for grain went up. Propane is a big one. We have a propane steam fired boiler that heats all of our water, does all of our boils. Propane's gone up like 40%. And you see that kind of across all materials. Cardboard got really expensive. Things you don't think about. Aluminum tariffs, like it goes on and on and on. So
you are affected by tariffs.
Like it affects the bulk price of aluminum, affects the price that you pay for a can. It hasn't gone crazy. There's just been that uncertainty alone.
That alone drives up the price.
Well, one of the main suppliers put cans up, 2 cents a piece. And so it doesn't seem like a lot, but then you add that over thousands of cans, it has a real effect on your bottom line. So the day we opened, prices are pretty much the same now in 2025 as they were in 2021. So
but you're losing more money essentially.
Yeah, the margins are smaller,
Yeah.
and I don't think this is unique to breweries. I will say that I see it with restaurants. Restaurants are really feeling that as well.
Sure.
And this is a tricky one too, because cost of living goes up. So then, I'm not an economist. I will point that out. But cost of living goes up, so the minimum wage, base wage goes up, and then at that point, wages are going up. So wages have continued to rise during this 4-year period as well.
Yeah.
So that's another factor that is affecting small business and the restaurant industry and the brewing industry.
But it sounds like the prices, you could justify making much higher prices to make sure your margins are the same as they used to be, but you haven't. So actually, strangely enough, the prices aren't as high as they should be. So the answer to the question, why are they so high, is actually they're not. They're low.
Well, yeah, and I get it. Like I go out, and I think it depends on. I don't go out anymore. I have kids, but I used to go out. I remember, you could get a beer for $5 and a tip, a bottle of Olin's or something. But that is also, people don't realize how quick 20 years passes. You think, oh, I remember when. We all get those stories. Parents would be like, 5 cents could buy me a candy bar and a bag of chips, and we were paying $5. It's a story as old as time. It's just things go up, and I get it. Everybody wants things to be cheaper, but I honestly think that things are kind of priced where they can be, and that's kind of the slot that I certainly don't see it going down.
Nothing ever goes down in
the
prices. So let's pivot to more in-depth discussion of sort of what's going on in the industry. So, what was it, a few years ago, the Canada, they came out with their new recommendations for alcohol consumption.
Right.
And they're sort of recommending no alcohol, please, at all. That's the safest. Since that moment in time, has anything changed? Because from my personal perspective, I've seen a lot of my friends have switched over to non-alcoholic beer, or they just drink less. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if it's a direct causation from that report. Whatever is happening, I can say that there's a trend of drinking more alcohol-free beverages, or just drinking less. Is that something you've noticed? What's happened since those recommendations came out?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed it. I'll speak to the student effect, because with locals, we throw big events and locals come out for those, and East Coasters love to have a good time, love to party. Nobody's drinking less on those nights, I can tell you that. They're coming to have a good time. It's their night out. So I haven't really noticed it there. I will say with younger people, I've seen a bit of a change in habits as far as coming out maybe a bit later, and so the night has sort of pushed a little bit, that they're not coming as early, though again, you're kind of, it's crystal ball here. You're like, is it because of health and wellness? Probably part of it. Is it because renting a single bedroom in a 50-year-old bungalow in Antigonish is $600 for a room and they don't have any money and groceries are expensive? I think that's part of it too. So, yeah, we've seen that trend. Anecdotally, I obviously ask young people, like, what do you guys think? Are people going out less? So you're kind of just trying to figure out, where the winds are shifting. And I've heard a lot of people say that the COVID people who went through high school in COVID, they're like, there's no FOMO. They're not like, that's fear of missing out. People don't know my cool hip lingo.
I got it, man. I'm hip too. I'm a 50-year-old man. I'm super hip.
We're so hip. You can't believe how hip this party is. The two of us here having a beer. So there's less like, oh, I'm going to miss something if I go out. Like, you get used to not going out and staying in becomes kind of the default. Whereas like when I went to school here, going out was the default. And I remember like Tuesday was a big night when I was in university. And I'm not saying this is for the better. Like, should I be going out on Tuesday with an 8:15 on Wednesday? Probably not. But
was that wing night? Was that a thing back in the day?
Well, there was a great establishment up on James Street called Pat's Place. And Pat's Place was known for Twisted Tuesdays. Not exactly responsible drinking promotion, but here we are. It was a different time.
Historical.
Yes. Dating myself. $2 drinks. So Pat's Place was very popular. But it seemed like, and then you said wing night was Wednesdays. Like every night kind of you could go out. And I think that now that's probably more focused on, wing night's obviously still a thing. People still go out. I'm not saying they don't, but it's more focused on Friday and Saturday than maybe it was previously.
So you're seeing fewer students, let's say, during the week on weeknights. Is that a trend?
Yeah, like student night, we still have good student nights. It's just, we're talking about like trend over a year.
Sure.
And I would say that like last year in particular, compared to previous 2 years, there's probably certainly coming out, but coming later, maybe leaving earlier, that kind of thing.
So you've been running this business for a while down here, and you have to deal with all these trends and differences and changes. Just in general, how has life been as a retail business owner here in Antigonish? You opened up during COVID or before?
So we opened up, I think it was in the second wave of lockdowns. I've kind of tried to compartmentalize that era of my life. I just try not to think about it.
So what's been going on since then to now? How has the experience been, and what are you nervous about for the future or looking forward to?
Well, I mean, a lot of these, there's obviously a lot of economic anxiety. People just kind of feel generally insecure. People you see it at like the farmer's market. We do that every Saturday. It's a great community thing. You get to chat with people. You see people, and this is not like from my experience selling, but more so just chatting with other vendors that people, they're just, I think people are spending less generally and kind of, it just seems like uncertainty about kind of where things are going to go. And, and obviously like 2 bags of groceries is like $80, like if you have a bag of groceries in your hand, it's $40-$50. Like that's,
So that means less money left over for recreational events, like going out to a music gig or drinking at a bar.
Yeah, like drinking at a bar is I mean, someone when I got in the industry said alcohol is recession proof because in lean times people drink at home and in boom times people go out. And it is true when it's a little more, people are feeling good and they want to get out and they want to see people, and it's we talk about the negative effects of alcohol tend to be the focus, but I mean, the positive effect of going out, not that you need alcohol for this, but is to get together with people. It's kind of the premise of this place. Get together face to face, see your friends, see your neighbors, like have a chat with people. So there are those benefits that, kind of get lost when you're, maybe home crushing Bud Lights and watching Netflix.
What about alcohol-free beer? Are those more or less expensive than things with alcohol, and why? That was my wife's question. If there's no alcohol, they should be cheaper.
Sure. So depending on how you make it, So there are a couple of ways, and I will preface this by saying I don't make non-alcoholic beer because with my equipment, with my setup, we're a small brewery. I don't feel like I could make something that I would want to drink myself,
Sure,
or be proud of. And like anything we make, I want to be able to drink it. There's, certain beer trends I won't make because I'm like, yeah, I'll have one of them, but like it doesn't pass the would I have another test. So that for me, I want things that are refreshing and kind of like sessionable, like you can have a few of them. And so because of equipment, we don't make it. But I'm happy to carry it because other people can do it. So cost wise, if you have the right equipment, to de-alcoholize, you can make a pretty good product. But there is an increased cost to that. So you imagine taking a beer, so you ferment, you do all the same steps. You brew it, you ferment it, and then you run it through a reverse membrane filter. You remove all the alcohol, then you add the solids back to water, and then you're making probably a 0 to 0.5% beer. So there's extra steps that are added.
so it should be more expensive because you're doing extra work.
Yeah, depending on the beer, but yeah, it should be comparable anyway. You can certainly get cheaper ones, but yeah, like at a craft scale, it's more laborious. Like there's more to do.
Yeah. So there was a news article not too long ago, I think in the CBC, where Kara Thompson and you are working together to put labels on your beer. Tell us, what is that all about?
So Kara approached me about potentially doing a pilot project where they would put warning labels on beer cans, which, I guess the closest kind of analogy would be cigarettes. People are very familiar with that.
Those graphic images.
Yeah. So when she asked me about it, I said, we're looking for someone to participate. Would you be interested? And for me, I always like to, I look for a way to maybe like be involved, work with St. FX in some fashion. So that was attractive, but just the idea, it was kind of long shot funding. So it was like, I don't know what group of funding is. Grants aren't my world, but it was kind of like, we may not get this, but like, we need a brewery on board to do the application. So, I was game. I mean, just something to trial. It's happened in other jurisdictions. So it's not like it's new here, but it's certainly something that could come down the pipeline or, has come down the pipeline in other, jurisdictions, other communities. So we were, we're small. We have, I guess you're not going to get big industry, behind something like that.
Budweiser's not going to voluntarily throw a bunch of warning labels on their beer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, nutrition, like beer's a food. There are nutrition fact tables on everything.
Yeah.
There's no nutrition fact tables on alcohol. There's a reason no one's pushed for that. So, and I'm not saying I'm pushing for it. I'm just saying that, to do something like this, to try it, why not?
Well, it's because cigarettes, they're mandated to do it. And the industry would, I'm sure, prefer not to have those on there because they're ultimately going to lose money. So it's interesting that you're voluntarily doing it in a sense because it should be something that drives fewer sales of your product or maybe converts sales to non-alc beer. So it's interesting that you embraced it. So tell us about why you would do such a thing.
I don't know. There's a nutrition facts table on a tub of ice cream and everybody still buys ice cream. So like we all know these things. I'm all for like transparency, and there's a lot of information out there. We talked about social media and the glut of things being thrown at you. So if you can get the recommendations, which, were poorly communicated, if you could get them in a way, it's easy to read, people can look at it. I mean, raise awareness. What's wrong with that? People have the right to know. I have nothing to hide. Like alcohol is part of our lifestyle. It's part of our culture and food and socializing. It always has been. Yeah. It's not going to go away. And I'm not a multi-million-dollar corporation owned by, some Brazilian Dutch conglomerate, so I have nothing to hide.
Labor, yeah. So no, and you're not. I mean, the reality is you're not going to put yourself out of business. I mean, even with those graphic things on cigarettes, it's not like people have stopped buying cigarettes altogether. So like, it's not really going to impact your bottom line, but it is going to provide a much needed service. It sounds like
it just honestly to like start the conversation. Like it's, you know, I just took an interest in it and thought it was a cool thing to do. So kind of why not?
That's cool. So before we wrap up, is there anything that the general public who you deal with gets wrong, or that you wish that they knew about either alcohol, beer, making beer, selling beer, or running a pub that you just love to get off your chest?
Oh, off my chest. How much time do we have?
3 minutes.
No, it's honestly, I think I've been thinking about this a bit lately. Like beer is a commodity. It's kind of like eggs. You're like, I need eggs, so I go buy eggs. However, a lot of people will go, you know, to the farmer's market and they'll buy eggs from Alicia because they like Alicia's eggs and they know her and they know where her farm is. And, you know, as costs have risen, I feel like maybe that has kind of been lost a little bit with beer, but beer is kind of been commodified to the point that like, it's all about the price. Like the price has been hammered down, and there's, you know, there are a lot of breweries, so the price keeps getting beaten down, and you know, that's, I guess, ultimately good for the consumer if that's the bottom line. But for the industry, for the craft industry, you know, making beer is hard, and it is kind of I hate to say art, because then I sound like I'm, you know, putting my nose up in the air, and most people don't care. Like most people come here for a show, they drink Big League, our light lager. It's great. I love it. But I make it here. I make it 20 feet from the bar. I condition it. I package it myself, and, you know, it goes, you know, the whole thing moves 100 feet. So I think what gets lost a little bit is that, you know, making beer is difficult. This kind of comes back to the price conversation, because I see things that are popular, like vodka sodas, like canned cocktails, like those things are so, you know, and for a reason. There's people who aren't beer fans, but people will say, oh, beer's expensive, when they're buying, you know, like a 6-pack of our beer will be $18, but like you get 6 ready to drink, whatever, peach iced teas, they're $20, and nobody bats an eye at that. So I think there's this like, beer has kind of been cheapened, which brings this conversation full circle, because like it's made from grain. We crush the grain. We make it from scratch. We boil it. We cool it. We condition it. It sits for a certain amount of time. I could make a vodka soda this morning and package it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But it's not the same level of artistry. I mean, I'll put my nose up.
There you go.
For you. Yeah.
Yeah. So and you know what? That's a communication thing too. I think like craft beer could slip into that, like wine. People are like, I don't care. I'm non-fussy. I just want a beer. Just give me a beer. But like it is, you know, you come into a place like this, like try something different. There's some really cool people are doing cool things, and it doesn't have to be, you know, way out in left field, or like, you know, crazy hoppy beers that people get turned off by. But like, you know, we have 3 or 4 really good light beers on right now that would be adjacent to what you're used to, but something a little bit different, you know, to try to like maybe extend what you're interested in.
Yeah. It's a bit like wine in the sense that like you have table wines, especially in Europe, like cheap wine that everyone's drinking just with supper or whatever. That would be like going out and buying a 6-pack of, you know, Natty Light or whatever. But then you can also, for a special occasion or a good night out, go and get a more expensive wine, and it tastes better. You can taste the difference, but it's more expensive, and you're paying for it because it's better. So I guess that's the difference between a craft beer and then the cheap beer that people are comparing craft beer to. They're both beer, but they're different animals. Is there anything else about Candid that people need to know? I mean, you had a beer subscription thing for a while. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, my wife would be like, Bryan is not the marketing salesperson type, because I always forget this stuff. So we are doing beer subscriptions, so you can sign up every 2 weeks. We'll deliver 12 beer to your door of your choosing. So all of our beer are now in 355 mil, so short cans. Craft beer is usually traditionally in taller cans for single serve. We're moving back to short cans. And so, yeah, you can get those delivered, your choice, what you like.
Great. And I don't want to necessarily plug a single producer out here. So I could say you make a good argument for purchasing locally made, locally produced beer.
Right.
So that's fantastic. It's a bit like the farmer's market and you're buying locally grown kale.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other craft brewers out here that we know of? I know of Half Cocked. They're great.
So in Antigonish,
Yeah.
I will shout out Half Cocked. They make some great beer. They have a nice patio out there. The like brew barn setup is really cool. They've repurposed that space, made it really nice. So yeah, Greg and I definitely will trade beers now and then and kind of drink what someone else is making, kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. And if you're up in Cape Breton, because I know a lot of people get up there, like everybody locally knows Big Spruce, but like really visit there.
That's a cool little retail.
It's a cool location.
Yeah,
You're up above Nyanza Bay. The view is great. There's usually music. The food truck there is awesome. The Crafty Cooks are also great in North Grand. I should have said
Cooks
that.
are fantastic.
I should have said that.
No,
it
good
slipped my
catch.
mind, but I really love those burgers at Big Spruce. Rose's Smash Burgers. They're amazing. Yeah. So, it's just kind of that northeastern corridor. I guess to include Tatamagouche in that, if you find yourself up there, beautiful, drive up there to drive along the Northumberland Strait. Tatamagouche has great beer, and it's a cute little town. So that's a nice place to go as well if you're a beer fan.
Thanks for sitting down with us. This is great. I think we answered the question and a whole lot more, and people now know a heck of a lot more about what's going on with beer in town.
Right. Cool. Well, yeah, anytime, if you come up with any more beer specific, questions, I can certainly nerd out on beer to a level that, the audience may or may not care about.
If you're listening and you really want to know more, just pop in for a beer and ask, because you're here.
Yeah.
In the back brewing beer.
Most of the time.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thanks very much.
All right. Cheers.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Antigonish. If you like the podcast, don't hesitate to subscribe. Just go to letstalkantigonish.ca and click. Voila! You'll receive new episodes right in your email inbox.
This podcast is a labor of love. Please consider making a contribution, small or large, maybe a monthly subscription. Depending on the level of public support, we would like to engage local producers and journalists to create more regular deep dive news stories about life here in Antigonish.
Right now, it's just Anuj and I doing this in our free time. You can read all about the podcast and ways to support us at letstalkantigonish.ca. And if you're a local business that wants to sponsor the podcast or even place an audio ad, we are certainly not opposed. A huge thank you to all of our subscribers and especially our paid subscribers, which have helped us to buy the audio equipment that we needed to get this thing off the ground. And remember to get in touch with us if you have an idea for a future episode or a burning question about life in Antigonish that you want us to explore and get answers to. We welcome all feedback. Just email us at letstalkantigonish@gmail.com. Let's talk, Antigonish.